President Biden comes on stage tonight. The convention hall is going to be filled with delegates right behind me, who all pledged, most of them at least, pledged their loyalty to him. Many hardcore Biden supporters who have to be won over by Kamala Harris, as well as a minority of uncommitted delegates who could stage a protest on the floor because they object to both Biden and Harris's position on the war in Gaza. Joining me now is Minnesota Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar. President Biden, Amy, has his faith in this transition. It's hard for him. You've known him for so long.
Well, he has done it so generously, so beautifully, and so patriotically. You think about this. He handed over this torch to Kamala Harris and did it in such a way that in 28 days, she was able to launch her campaign, unite our party, raise over $300 million, pick a running mate, and fill arenas. But tonight, you're going to hear from President Biden, as you noted, talking about how our very democracy is at stake. No one knows that better than him. He basically saved our democracy by beating Donald Trump. And I was there on that inaugural stage with him that day under that blue sky just 2 weeks after the insurrection, and knows exactly what he means. He saved that democracy. He went on to promote voting rights, to stand up for the people of this country, to have their backs through that pandemic and out and emerge strong. That's what he'll be focusing on today. But he's also going to talk about the future. And people can't forget that, because for him, it's not going back to Donald Trump, yes, but it's also handing that torch to the next generation.
And as we hear the rehearsals behind us, I know
that was for the future. That's
for
music.
The future. That's for tonight. Talk to me about Tim Walz, because you know him so well. He's the governor of your state, and he's being attacked. He's a 24-year veteran of the National Guard, but J.D. Vance has found not flaws with his service, but criticism, a lot of it verified, with the way he accounted for his service.
Well, okay, so first of all, I'm just thinking, fine, you spend your time attacking someone who spent 24 years in the National Guard, signing up like so many rural kids do when he's only 17 years old. And people love the National Guard. They get that you do get deployed at times, as Tim was with his unit, to Europe. But a lot of the work is at home, protecting the homeland, tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, fires. Tim Walz has served our country valiantly and then decided after 24 years to run for Congress and became head of the Veterans Committee. You contrast that to Donald Trump. Contrast it to a guy that's gone after our vets as suckers and losers, went after John McCain for being a prisoner of war. And it is the Biden-Harris administration that passed the PACT Act.
Well, speaking of Donald Trump, we've got a clip of him on the Medal of Honor.
Okay.
People that get the Congressional Medal of Honor, which I've given to many, are often horribly wounded or dead. They're often dead. They get it posthumously. And when you get the Congressional Medal of Honor, I always consider that to be the ultimate, but it is a painful thing to get it. When you get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, it's usually for other things, like you've achieved great success in sports or you've achieved great success someplace else.
And that was him trying to explain away what he had said when he initially said that giving the Medal of Freedom to one of his biggest donors was a better thing than those who have received the Medal of Honor, the Congressional Medal of Honor, because they have done such service.
It's an unbelievable thing. And on a week of unbelievable things where he started talking about bird cemeteries and claimed he did the cap on insulin, now this. And actually, I'd say the VFW, one of our largest veterans organizations in the country, said it best when they said he brazenly dismissed the valor and reverence symbolized by the Medal of Honor and those who have earned it. They noted that while both medals are important, the Medal of Honor is more sacred as it represents the gallantry and courage of selfless service members. That's what the Medal of Honor is about, and I am outraged, as General Kelly was this morning. He came out as former chief and talked about how this was just plain wrong to say.
And let me just point out that on the stage, the giant stage behind us, Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, is doing his quick run through, as every speaker will. So we're going to be hearing from him. They were on the road in a bus in Pennsylvania. just yesterday, the two couples, reminiscent of the 1992 Pennsylvania bus tour of the Clintons and the Gores. And, of course, we'll be hearing from Hillary Clinton. So Kamala Harris has not played up breaking the glass ceiling so much. That is not the barrier that she's even talking about. It's almost a generational shift from Hillary Clinton, who tried so hard to become the first woman president. Kamala Harris could become the first woman president, but that's not really what she's talking about as much.
Well,
what do you think about the role of women here?
So I think, first of all, Hillary Clinton, can't wait to hear from her, such a leader. And I also think that when she was running, that was, you're right, Andrea, as you remember, that was some of a lot of the theme there. But now time has passed. We have now grown slowly but surely in the number of women in the Senate, women mayors, women governors all over the country. And we've reached this point where Kamala Harris is running on her merits. She's bringing the receipts. She has been an international leader as well as a national leader. She has, as I noted, in just 28 days, done everything flawlessly, including picking an excellent running mate from the state of Minnesota, where we just love our vice presidents. And I think that you're going to hear about the first woman. That's important to us. But what's most important for the vast majority of Americans is having someone who has their backs and not going backwards to those dark days of Donald Trump. That's what you're going to hear a lot about. It's not to minimize that she'd be the first woman president. She's already been the first woman vice president. We know it's not easy to be president, or you'd play a game, pick your favorite woman president. We've never had one. But I think this is her own decision to emphasize the merits of her candidacy as well as what she wants to do in the future. And I think it's the right one.